Student Voice is an organization that, it is in the name, it really uses students from all over the nation and gets their opinion on what's going on, how they can take charge of their education and be a real, make a place for themselves at the table, not just have it by a bunch of adults who obviously went through and are involved with education, but by also people who are experiencing it today. A friend of mine graduated high school last year and he moved up to Washington, D.C. For college, and he kind of reached out to me this summer and said, hey, I know you're really involved with education, and you know, I'm part of student council, and so I'm always very much wanting to make sure that everyone's voice is heard, everybody kind of gets their view seen. And he was like, you know, my organization that I'm involved with, Student Voice, is doing a roundtable discussion with Superintendent Molly Spearman this summer. And so we're asking about 10 students from around the state to come and kind of talk with her about education in South Carolina right now. Would you like to be a part of it? And immediately I was like, of course, yes. I actually got to hear Superintendent Spearman speak at Girls State this summer, and I had already absolutely fallen in love with her and just everything that she kind of stands for. And so getting to go and speak with her really opened the door to Student Voice for me. When I was at the roundtable with Superintendent Spearman, we talked about school buses and safety in South Carolina and getting more availability for that, because that's a huge issue. And we also talked about standardized testing, because this past year there was a pretty big issue. Our state is amazing at providing the opportunity for students in their junior year to take a standardized test that's paid for by the state and done for them at their high school, which is amazing. However, this year we worked with ACT, and a lot of schools tried to do it online, and there was a huge issue with that, with buffering and a lot of delays in the system. And so kind of straightening that out and trying to work with, you know, what if some students are an ACT student and some are an SAT student, because the tests are very different, and you know, we still want to be able to highlight that for each student. And a lot of the times those tests can be really burdensome financially. And so being able to offer either one from the state at least once. And so we were able to talk about that, and actually it's going to be made available for either one, so that's really exciting. And you get to choose, you know, which test you want to take, which is huge. So yeah, it was a really productive conversation. I think it's important for students to speak up because we think differently. You know, we're currently experiencing education and having, being taught, and I think that the only true reflection of that is by hearing exactly what the students are going through. And so if you don't speak up and say, hey, this is working, or hey, maybe we could take this a different way, maybe we could provide some solutions, then it's going to be really hard to see a change, or at least a change in the direction that we think is important. And so I think it's really important, even to, whether it's to be on student council and to go ahead and take charge of those leadership roles, kind of I have been very big on doing, or to just talk to someone who is and say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing, could you bring this up, could you see what we can do about it, let's work on this. It's definitely a community effort between all the students, and we have to come together to see how we can improve instead of all just griping and hoping things will change.